Hey everyone, it's Laura from Cool Mom and Collected. So for those of you that don't know, I am actually expecting my third baby and I am about 22 weeks pregnant. Today I want to share with you guys all about unmedicated birth and why I chose to have an unmedicated birth. Not just with my first baby, my second baby, but with baby number 3, which let's give you guys a little sneak peek. There's baby number 3. And I believe you guys know this, but we're having a boy. You can watch the first trimester update right here if you forgot it. First, I want to just put out a little disclaimer on how I feel about the topic of birth, and that is that all birth is beautiful. This is a judgment-free zone, so no matter how you have had birth, you're not going to get any judgment from me. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment because I always respond, and don't forget to set your notifications so you will be notified every time I put out a new video, which is every Thursday. Let's get right into the reasons of why I chose an unmedicated birth. So the first reason that I chose to have an unmedicated birth was actually my mom. My mom gave birth unmedicated with all 4 of her children. Yes, 4. And I think there's just something about it that really inspired me. There was something safe and familiar, like my mom had done it before. I wanted to do it, as well as just kind of wanting to experience what she had to go through to bring us all into the world. I just think that that is such a beautiful process, and I've heard so many beautiful things about it. My mom would always tell me, like, yeah, well, in the beginning, you know, there's pain and there's this, but after, it's like you forget everything. When you see that baby, nothing else matters, and I can attest to that. And so I think it's pretty cool that my mom and I have that connection of doing unmedicated birth. The next reason for choosing an unmedicated birth is actually not wanting meds unless medically necessary. So I'm the type of person that normally doesn't use meds for herself. I sprained my wrist once, didn't take anything. Not for a headache, not for a migraine. I didn't use it during or after childbirth. The idea of numbing or suppressing my pain kind of freaks me out, because I like to be in control and I like to know what my body is going through so that I can be aware of what I'm feeling. Now, don't get me wrong, if I have an allergic reaction, I'll be taking those, thank you. If I'm having like a root canal or something like that, yes, I'm not going to just let someone drill in my teeth. If the need for meds is medically necessary, that is a completely different story. I'm so thankful for doctors and medical professionals, but I also like to educate myself, and I also like to build a strong tolerance so that I'm not just getting medications anytime I'm feeling like I need a little something. The next reason that I chose to have an unmedicated birth is just to set a personal goal. So if you're like me, then you might thrive off of having a personal goal. You have a date, you have something that you can work towards. I'm a planner, so I love having my due date where I should be having my baby around. I love researching, planning, prepping, having like little lists, having a birth plan. That is all up my alley. My first birth plan went to plan, and so I've used that for my second babe, and I'm gonna use that for my third. And I just like having that personal goal. Obviously, if my baby is at risk, or if my health is at risk, no personal goal is gonna get into the way of taking care of me or taking care of my baby. But because I was deemed fit for an unmedicated birth by medical professionals like my midwife, I feel comfortable setting a personal goal. My next reason for wanting an unmedicated birth is an opportunity to rely on God. I cannot tell you how amazing birth was from a spiritual standpoint of growing closer to Yahweh. Throughout my labor, it was Him that got me through, and I really treasured that dependency on Him, even though at times it was scary, even though at times it was painful. It's in the difficult seasons in our life when we're really struggling, when we really have to just rely on Him, that we find ourselves growing the closest in Him. And I'm telling you, I had 2 very, very different unmedicated births. Like, I would love to share them with you guys if you want to hear my 2 crazy different unmedicated birth stories. They're out of control. Let me know in the comments below and I will add that to this series. There's times where I just felt like the Holy Spirit was with me and helping me, and it was just some of the most insane peaceful moments that I should not be experiencing during unmedicated birth. It's even kind of crazy to me just to think like the women of the Bible, whether it's like Eve or, you know, Elizabeth or Sarah or all these different people that gave birth, like I'm experiencing birth in the same pain and the same joy that they did. I'm like getting out of breath just explaining all this. Next is the ability to labor in the comfort of my own home. Would I rather be laboring in the comfort of my own home, or would I be laboring in a hospital? I'm gonna choose home. If you have to have a C-section or an induction or an epidural and you know that ahead of time, you are most likely not going to be able to be laboring as much as you would like at home, and you may need to get to the hospital before you even really feel any symptoms in some cases. So I like the opportunity to be able to stay at home in my comfort space, time myself out so I can get to the hospital right in time to push. This girl, she don't do needles, especially not in the lower back where I can't see what's going on. I respect anyone that had to get an epidural. When it comes to giving birth, we all have to do whatever is the best decision for our baby and for our health. Basically, I was less scared of giving birth with no meds than I was to get a big sharp needle in my lower back that might not even have the results that I was expecting. I'm not trying to scare you guys, but there are stories of women that do get the epidural and they say either they couldn't feel anything whatsoever or they could only feel their left side, and so, you know, they felt everything still even after the epidural. They get a very strong stinging sensation and have continued back pain even after having the epidural. That numbness can be so strong that they push too hard because they can't really feel, and that sometimes instigates tearing or can instigate other medical intervention that would otherwise not be necessary. These are some of the reasons I steered clear of an epidural, and you guys should do your research to ensure if that's the route you want to go, that you're comfortable with the risk factors like you would in any scenario. My next reason for choosing an unmedicated birth is the freedom to eat and drink. Okay? Drink water, obviously, not alcohol. I really love to eat, and although I will tell you, I wasn't thinking about McDonald's, I wasn't thinking about, you know, Burger King. I don't eat fast food, but I wasn't thinking about all these things. I was thinking about getting this baby out in one piece. There's just something comforting about knowing I'm not restricted, that if I am all of a sudden craving like a pickle, I can eat it and, you know, I'm not gonna like get in trouble. I want to stay hydrated, and if you're not hydrated, you could have some unnecessary medical interventions, or you'll have to get, you know, an IV or different things like that. I didn't experience anything having to go into my body because I was well hydrated, and so I like that. If you are going to be having a C-section, then you may not be able to eat or drink for a certain amount of time prior to the surgery, and so that was just something that didn't interest me. I love the freedom of being able to eat and drink. The next one is a big one: free movement during labor. I want anyone that is about to give birth to know that different positions can really help bring that baby down the canal. If you are considering getting an epidural, or you're considering getting induced or different things, there are restrictions that can sometimes come into play that keep you sitting down in a bed. I'm able to have free movement. Sure, at one point they might hook me up to a fetal monitor just to make sure that the baby's heart is doing well and that, you know, the baby's breathing and doing all this stuff. But otherwise, I'm able to hop on a ball and bounce. I'm able to be in all these different positions that can help the baby come quicker or help the baby come with more ease. If you're doing something like an epidural, unfortunately, you're going to have to push on your back. And what a lot of people don't know is that when you're pushing a baby out, so say you're not standing, say you're laying down on your back. When you're pushing a baby out, that baby's not just going, wee. The baby actually hits your pelvis. It has to come up. So when you're on your back, you're pushing out and up. So you can see why a lot of people tear, a lot of people have trouble pushing that baby out. Actually, on your back, it will take longer to push a baby out, likely, than if you're in different positions where the baby's gravity is pulling the baby down. So I can attest to this. One birth, I was giving birth on my back unmedicated, and the second birth, I was giving birth on my hands and knees. And boy, do I have a lot to tell you guys about how I will never give birth on my back again. It's hot. Having the freedom to give birth in whatever way my body felt was right for that moment, because it will be different with every child that you birth. That just seemed like the perfect decision. I wanted to be able to freely walk, to freely squat, to freely lay down, to freely go in the tub. These are all things that really attracted me to unmedicated birth, as opposed to sitting in a bed like this, being hooked up to all this stuff. My next and last reason for wanting an unmedicated birth is easier recovery. I have always heard from people that if you give birth unmedicated, you are gonna have an easier recovery. And although I never gave birth with meds, I can attest that I am shocked at how quickly my body recovered, even with the baby coming out the hoo-ha, you know, coming out there. Obviously, like if you have an epidural, you're still gonna be numb, you're gonna need assistance going to the bathroom, you're gonna need assistance, you know, with this, with that. Maybe you won't be able to pick up the baby. If the baby's crying, someone will have to pick it up and give it to you. Now, all this is fine. I mean, this is just stuff that you need to consider. But if you want to be independent after giving birth, I was able to shower, use the bathroom, get dressed, get undressed, get the baby all unassisted. And for me, that was really empowering. You know, my parents came the next day, I was walking around, they were like, did you even have a baby? Like, you're moving like nothing happened. You guys better want to hear my stories. They're so good, my unmedicated birth stories. If you need help doing those things after birth, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. And in fact, take advantage of that. Get everyone like, get all the help that you need. But for me, it just worked better. So that's something to consider. And guys, those are my reasons for wanting an unmedicated birth. And I just hope that this can help anyone that's interested. Why don't you guys let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, as well as if you want to see my 2 birth stories and any other pregnancy or non-pregnancy related videos that you guys would like to see. I am so thankful you're here. I feel so much love surrounding my pregnancy, and I just want to thank you guys. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.